Obviously, it's rooted in science fiction, I would say, and it kind of just shows his skill set in another way.
Yeah, dude, the scope of it too is awesome. I know, I know he used the cat who Nolan uses all the time, right?
Yes,
For
yes.
cinematography. I think he did like Dunkirk, like you were saying. You told me off air about the sound.
Yes.
It's just, um, yeah, dude.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it. I was like, either this movie fucking rules or this sound system is the greatest sound system I've ever heard in my life. Because it was like you could hear a pin drop, you could hear everything. You know, the crowd that I was with were super respectful and quiet the entire time. It was insane. I had those recliner chairs, going on, and it was just amazing. Big ass screen. It was the ultimate experience. It's so much fun. I need to watch it again. And I'm gonna bring this up, because you said you believe, or in your opinion, you think that this is the best thing he's done so far. Correct?
I do, just because of how different it is from the first two. Obviously, like Get Out is an all-time classic. That's one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and definitely probably number one of the last decade, I would say. And the impact it had on culture and society is unmatched. But just because how different this one is, and how much of a loop it throws you, like you think that the trailers show you a lot, but they fucking don't. Like it just, it's crazy, and that's why I think it's his best. Yeah, go on. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I don't know if I would agree that it's his best, but when you put it on the scope of what he was doing as opposed to what he's known for, then yeah, I think like concept wise, it was a huge swing because it's so different, and you'll know what we're talking about when you see it. It's just like pretty kind of off the rails, or it ends up being like that, but it's just a damn roller coaster, it's epic, it turns out, and it's so simplistic in nature, or at least when it starts off. It has a very minimal cast, but the cast is amazing and on point, and shout out to Keke Palmer. She fucking rules. Of course, my boy Daniel Kaluuya is always 100% brilliant. So go watch it if you haven't already. Go watch it.
Yeah. Eat on the biggest fucking loudest screen possible.
It's nightmare fuel. It's I'm gonna go on record saying this. I might get some haters, maybe not. But I feel like he's doing M. Night better than M. Night Shyamalan. At least with this, it's like a modern, it's like a reinvention of science to me in a lot of ways.
It is, yeah. No, like I told you off air, like there's a couple of scenes that I texted you about how those scenes like deeply fucking affected me in that type of. There's stuff happening on screen, but horror wise, there's really nothing. Like I've obviously seen worse, but just the way things are set up and the sound and just everything, it fucking, yeah, those two things shook me to my core. So yeah, go see it if you're able to.
That's right. Go watch Nope.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now for the movie focus of the week.
So, of course, we're talking about The Batman. It's PG-13. It's from 2022. It runs at 2 hours and 56 minutes, and it's got a well-deserved 85 on Rotten. Written by Peter Craig and Matt Reeves and directed by the great Matt Reeves, starring Paul Dano, Colin Farrell, Jeffrey Wright, Andy Serkis, John Turturro, Peter Sarsgaard, Zoe Kravitz, and of course, your boy and mine, Robert Pattinson. The film has us follow an earlier version of Batman, only having been a vigilante for about 2 years from where our story picks up, as a deranged sociopath known only as the Riddler starts to pile up bodies and clues. It's up to everybody's favorite detective to figure out a solution and stop Gotham from devastation, but he won't be able to do it alone. It's known that Ben Affleck was originally attached to the Batman, but ultimately backed out, which led to director Matt Reeves taking over. During the development, Reeves wanted to operate outside of the established DCEU, which Warner Brothers agreed to. With the existence of the character of Batman being around for 80 plus years now, one thing had been missing from the film adaptations until earlier this year. The newest Batman film manages to capture the detective noir aspect of the vigilante perfectly, with top-shelf character portrayals, a beautiful score, and breathtaking cinematography. It's hard to see any flaws in the film. Even its generous, near 3-hour runtime moves along quickly, showcasing one of the hardest PG-13 flicks to date. Available to stream now via HBO Max. Thank you. Also, we do have I did want to read James's intro too, if that's cool, and then I'll hand over the mic to you, so to speak.
Hell yeah.
And this is for everybody out there, and to put it into context, this is James Warney, our co-host, who could not be here, who loves Batman dearly. This is his outlook on the film. The Batman, in my opinion, is a near-perfect film, and the best Batman film we've gotten so far, hands down. Robert Pattinson's version of Batman blew me away with the young Year 2 Batman full of rage, still learning how to navigate through the corrupted Gotham City. Colin Farrell is unrecognizable as the Penguin and stole the show when he was on screen every time. Can't wait to see where he takes this character in his HBO Max series. The chemistry between Pattinson and Jeffrey Wright is undeniable, and just the beginning of a long and beautiful relationship as Jim Gordon and the Batman. Paul Dano's Riddler is a terrifying villain, and is the best Riddler we've seen on the big screen. In parentheses, fact. The only negative I have on this film is the lack of screen time we get between Alfred Pennyworth, who is played by the great Andy Serkis, and Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. Hopefully Reeves learns from the minor mistake in the film, and we get to see a more fleshed out relationship between the two later in the sequel. And of course, my second wife, Zoe Kravitz, is mesmerizing as Catwoman / Selena Kyle, and the forbidden love aspect the Bat and the Cat play around with throughout the film is perfect. Overall, I'd give the film a 10 out of 10. Looking forward to what director Matt Reeves comes up with for the next film. Also, check out the deleted scene of the new Joker on YouTube if you haven't yet. Stealing everything we have to talk about. All right, man. So now that we got that out of the way, I wanted to ask you point blank. So what, out of the, besides the obvious, what made you want to talk about this movie at this particular time? What does it mean to you? Let us know, what were your initial thoughts after getting out of that first viewing of it, and to go deeper, what does the actual mythos of Batman and the comic books and everything leading up to now, like throughout your whole life, what does Batman mean to you?
So yeah, dude, like I've loved Batman. He's probably next to like Hulk and Moon Knight and Thor. He's probably my favorite of any of the superheroes, both Marvel and DC. He's obviously my favorite DC, and it's been like that for years. I'm pretty sure, other than obviously the first two Keaton flicks. I have seen all of them in theaters. I went to go see the Dark Knight trilogy, all three movies, after the third one had premiered. Like opening night, I was there for Dark Knight. I'm sure as I'm sure a lot of everyone, all the listeners were when all that craziness happened in Colorado.
Yes.
Which kind of changed going to the movies forever. I don't have any pictures, dude, but there might be, but I was fucking Jim Carrey's Riddler for Halloween one year. Fucking orange hair. My mom made me my fucking green jumpsuit, like out of like a Hanes crew neck sweater and like sweatpants, and like hand did all the question marks on the fucking sweater and sweatpants.
Wow.
I think that I've always loved Batman because the stuff that I've read, and obviously not like the big time budget movies and stuff like that, but it's always he's a very grounded hero, and I think this Reeves gave us the the Batman that we all have been wanting for decades, and it's very, very, very grounded, and that's one of the main reasons why I loved it so much. Coming out of the movie theater for the first time, I had to like carry my jaw off the fucking ground because of how perfect the film it is. I am in the same boat as James, where I think that it definitely is the best Batman on-screen Batman we've ever gotten, and that's saying a lot because Nolan's trilogy is very high up there on everyone's list. And we can get into that later on what I think about those three movies. But yeah, dude. I can remember the day that the trailer dropped, and like I had to watch it on YouTube to see it on my fucking big TV, just to see it in all its glory. And I think this movie was like, obviously since the pandemic, there was, I'd been to the movies maybe 5 or 6 times before this, but I think this was like the first real like big, huge blockbuster since the pandemic that I can think of that just blew me away. What about you?
So I actually got to see this at the Fleet Science Center on IMAX for the first time. It's a huge dome screen. So it was like I think it's the first real film I've ever seen in there. And it was an experience, man. All the anticipation, especially, doing a podcast like this and following the production for so long, and then everything happening with COVID, and even Pattinson, the production was stilted because he ended up getting COVID, and there was all these issues. So sitting down in those seats and knowing that you're finally going to watch this piece of cinema, regardless of whether it's good or not, at that time, it's just like it's a special feeling, and it was a super bonus for me that it was so. It's really, really hard to nitpick anything in this at all. The score is beautiful. Everybody is even the way like the cinematography is gorgeous. It's dark. It's green. It feels dangerous. This is the most authentic Gotham I think we've seen, where they actually really took great care into immersing you or us as viewers into the world, and you 100% feel like you're in the middle of everything. Of course, going back to what I said in the write-up, it's going back to the I feel like the tagline for Batman for a lot of years was the world's greatest detective, and